Welcome to today's Explainer, everyone. I'm going to be acting as your knowledge management expert today. We're taking a pretty complex, heavy topic, international environmental law, and decoding it into clear, actionable business value. Specifically, we're diving deep into corporate sustainability strategy and how you can actually turn impending 2026 regulatory mandates into a massive strategic asset. Because you know what? This isn't just about saving the planet anymore. It's literally about future-proofing your entire supply chain. So I have to ask you right out of the gate, is your supply chain ready for 2026? Because whether you're selling packaging, electronics, textiles, a rapid global rollout of incredibly strict environmental compliance laws is knocking at your door right now. It's happening. You can't just ignore it, and you certainly can't wait until the last minute to figure the whole thing out. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll be looking at the 2026 EPR reality, deciding whether this is a threat or an edge, uncovering circular supply chain savings, getting into what I like to call suit and tie sustainability, and wrapping up with future-proofing your business. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the 2026 EPR reality. We are officially way past the era where environmental goals were just, nice to have, voluntary suggestions tucked away at the back of an annual report. We are firmly shifting into an era of hard, auditable legal mandates. And right at the heart of this shift is EPR, or Extended Producer Responsibility. Think of it essentially as the polluter pays principle, but applied to the modern supply chain. It completely shifts the financial and physical burden of managing waste away from local municipalities and taxpayers right back to the people who made the product in the first place. Meaning, if you manufacture or import it, you own its life cycle. You have to internalize the costs of recycling and disposal directly into your product's market price. And this brilliantly illustrates just how aggressively this is expanding. We're seeing full programs enacted, comprehensive needs assessments ordered, and a huge potential for new bills across multiple states. And hey, this is just the US. We are seeing sweeping, undeniable mandates across the European Union, India, Canada, the list goes on. The bottom line, if you sell across borders, you are directly in the crosshairs. Now, for those who might think this is just some sudden fad, let's take a look at this timeline. The concept actually dates all the way back to a 1990 report out of Sweden. Then we saw the EU's WWEE directive in 2005 tackling electronic waste, followed by China adopting its EPR framework in 2012. By 2025, we've actually seen a demonstrable drop in unrecovered plastic globally thanks to these frameworks. But 2026, that is the critical tipping point. That's when strict mandates, extensive reporting, and eco-modulated fees are going to hit businesses at a massive scale. To really understand why governments are pushing this so incredibly hard, check out this staggering number from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, 2.5 million tons. That's the sheer volume of cell phones, TVs, computers, and printers thrown away in a single year. That's enough to boggle the mind. And these items contain lead, mercury, and cadmium. Local governments simply do not have the funds or the infrastructure to handle this safely anymore. So what are they doing? They're forcing businesses to solve the problem they created. Moving right along to Section 2, Threat or Competitive Edge. When you look at this impending wave of regulations, what do you see? A death knell or an opportunity to completely outmaneuver your competitors? Look at the comparison here. The laggard view, which is that traditional linear business mindset, sees EPR as just another tax, an operational nightmare that's going to disrupt the supply chain. But the CEO view? The most successful leaders see this as an opportunity for real EPR competitive advantage. They're looking at resource efficiency, significantly lower secondary material costs, and building immense brand loyalty with today's eco-conscious consumer. But let me be absolutely clear about something. Sticking to that laggard view comes with some truly severe risks. Regulators aren't just politely asking for estimates anymore. No, they are demanding auditable, product-level data. If you fail to map your obligations, you're staring down heavy financial penalties. In some cases, you could even face complete market access restrictions. That means your products are literally banned from being sold in certain regions. Add in the reputational damage and the loss of critical ESG funding from responsible investment portfolios. Honestly, non-compliance is just flat-out bad business. There's a fantastic quote from our sources that literally hits the nail on the head. Companies that embed AI into their EPR strategies won't just stay compliant, they'll gain first-mover advantage in the next generation of sustainable supply chains. Being a first mover here is huge. It builds a defensive moat around your entire business, positioning you as a responsible market leader while your competitors are left scrambling, just trying to avoid fines. Which brings us to Section 3, Circular Supply Chain Savings. Now, what's really interesting about this is how compliance transforms from an annoying legal obligation into this amazing exercise in unlocking hidden financial value right inside your own waste stream. To see how this value is recovered out in the real world, let's trace this flowchart from Doco Recyclers. It details their standard operating procedure for e-waste repair. Look, it isn't magic. It's a highly structured, step-by-step process of breaking down discarded electronics to salvage anything of value.
They meticulously follow these steps, dismantling the outer casing, supplying direct power to check the internal circuits, actively replacing modular components or doing intricate chip-level repairs, and finally running a rigorous quality check. If a device can be refurbished, great, it gets sold, completely preventing a brand new device from needing to be manufactured. And if not, they salvage secondary raw materials like copper and zinc. That significantly lowers both the carbon footprint and the cost compared to mining virgin ores from the earth.
And hey, it's not just electronics either. Look at the stark difference between these two production lines. Physical product design directly impacts your bottom line under these EPR laws. Under the new eco-modulated fee structures, you actually pay lower compliance costs if your product is specifically designed for sustainability. Moving away from complex mixed material packaging toward uniform, highly recyclable designs, like what you see in modern beverage lines, that translates into massive direct reductions in your EPR fees.
And the data actually shows this shift is already working out there in the real world. A detailed analysis of waste recovery facilities across more than 20 countries showed that unrecovered plastic and residual lines dropped from an average of 3,000 tons in 2024 down to 2,500 tons in 2025. That is a 500-ton improvement in operational recycling efficiency in just one single year. It absolutely proves that regulatory pressure, when combined with smart redesign, yields fantastic results.
Let's step into Section 4, Suit and Tie Sustainability.
We are officially taking this concept straight out of the recycling bin and putting it directly into the boardroom. Because the reality today is that sustainability is no longer just some marketing campaign or a cute green logo slapped on a box. It is a critical executive-level priority. When due diligence is performed during mergers and acquisitions now, buyers are heavily scrutinizing EPR costs. They're looking at producer responsibility organization fees, your data management platforms, and the R&D required to change packaging. It impacts high-level B2B partnerships immensely.
So, acting as your knowledge management expert today, I want to give you this concrete, actionable 2026 compliance checklist to help you navigate this. First, you need to map exactly where EPR applies to you globally. Second, closely review your data quality, because trust me, you will need to prove your numbers. Third, assess and aggressively redesign your packaging. Fourth, get officially registered with your regional PROs. And finally, engage your suppliers, because having traceability all the way up the chain, that's mandatory now.
Let's break down the actual financial ROI of getting this right, because that's what really matters to the business. If you master those eco-modulated fees, you actively lower your ongoing compliance costs. If you nail transparent, accurate reporting, you attract serious big money funding from ESG-focused investment portfolios who desperately need reliable partners. And if you build in salvage value recovery, you create actual, tangible exchange value from your old products, rather than just shrugging and writing them off as a loss. Finally, let's jump into Section 5, Future-Proofing Your Business.
So, how do we actually sustain this incredible advantage over the long haul? Well, to handle the massive, intricate international data requirements of EPR, global businesses are increasingly turning to artificial intelligence. AI is absolutely becoming the critical enabler here. It tracks the entire life cycle of your products. It fully automates the dizzyingly complex reporting of waste rates across entirely different regional markets. It optimizes your eco-design virtually before a single item is manufactured, and it efficiently manages the incredibly complex reverse logistics of taking your products back. Always remember the core philosophy behind these regulations. It's captured so perfectly in this quote. EPR is a paradigm shift in the end-of-use management of materials. It is intended to expand and incentivize recycling. The ultimate goal of the regulators isn't just to punish you, it's to create real, monetary incentives for better business practices. They want to reward the companies that actively step up and help them solve the global waste crisis. So, I leave you with this final thought as we wrap up our explainer today. With those 2026 deadlines approaching fast, and I mean really fast, you have a choice to make. Will your business just be a casualty of compliance, totally overwhelmed by fines and disrupted supply chains? Or will you take action right now, master green brand building, win the hearts of the modern eco-conscious consumer, and become the architect of a circular future? The choice is entirely yours, but the time to act is right now.